Hey, what's up guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. I just wanted to make this quick video about my process that I go through when I am preparing cards to send off to grading. I've seen quite a few videos like this on YouTube, and a lot of people, there are different methods, there are different ways that people do it, and there's really no right or wrong way, there's just different ways. And I've seen people skip what I think are very important steps that you should not be skipping. I just want to go over my method and show you guys what I do. So obviously here laid out in front of me, I have the tools that I use. Obviously, you're going to need the cards that you want to grade. These aren't cards that I'm sending off to grading. These are just cards that I pulled out to use for examples. So you're going to need your cards. You're going to need some penny sleeves. And you're going to need your card saver. I use these ones from BCW. These work great. And you're going to need a cloth. These microfiber cloths work great. Again, you can usually get these, probably at the dollar store. You can get like a pack of 5 at the dollar store. They usually come with sunglasses when you buy them, or glasses. But when you are buying these microfiber cloths, make sure you get these soft ones. There are different types. There are some that are a little bit more rough. Don't get those. You want to make sure you get these nice soft ones. You're also going to need a magnifying glass. This is very important. And another thing that I use is gloves. Now, some people say you don't need to use gloves. Some people laugh at it. It's really up to you. And actually, it's up to your body chemistry. I personally have naturally sweaty and oily hands. I also use moisturizing lotion. So whenever I'm handling cards that I want to get ready for grading, I always wear gloves because my fingerprints will get all over them just because of how sweaty and oily and moisturized they are. So it's up to you if you want to use gloves. I recommend them. There's really no reason not to use them. So those are the tools that you're going to need. Now let's go on to each individual process. Okay, so I'm actually not going to use the gloves right now because I'm not actually sending these cards in for grading. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the first card that you want to send off to grading and just give it a once over with your eyes. Give it a good look over, check the centering left to right, up, and a lot of people forget about the up and down centering. That's just as important, if not more important, because PSA, if you're sending to PSA, they really hammer the up and down centering. But definitely check left to right, up and down. This card actually looks really good as far as centering goes. And also the back, again, up and down, left and right. You can buy different, I have one, I actually didn't bring it out, but you can buy little templates that you can put over the cards and it'll measure the centering for you. Once you've been doing it enough, you really don't need it. You can pretty much eyeball that. But they're a neat little tool to have anyways, and they're pretty cheap. But yeah, first thing I do, like I said, is I just give it a good once over with my eyes. Look at the card. If it, how does it look? If you can spot anything through the top loader and the penny sleeve, then you're probably not going to send it off to grading. The second thing I do is still while it's in the top loader, I'll then take my magnifying glass and I'll just look at the corners and the edges right through the top loader. Right? Go up and down both sides, corners, edges. Put the light, this magnifying glass has a little LED light on it, which is great. And just put the light on it and look it over. Same thing, look at the corners and the edges on the back. Look at the surface on the back. And if it passes that through the top loader, if it looks good through the top loader and through the penny sleeve, that's when I'll take it out. And by the way, this is the proper way to remove a card from a top loader, is tap your palms together and the card will slide out and then you can just pull it out. Don't go digging around. Some people will take their top loader and they'll get in there and they'll get their fingernail in there and they'll open it up and they'll dig in there and pull it. Don't do that. Just do that palm method. Tap the card out. Works really well. So yeah, so then I get it out of the penny sleeve on the top loader, and then again I give it a really good look over with my eyes, front and back. Same thing, I'll use my magnifying glass and I'll look over it again. And then, of course, because when it was in the top loader, you really can't see scratches or anything on the surface. You're really just looking for corners and edges at that point. And obviously, when it's in the top loader and you see bad corners, you see bad edges, there's no reason to even move on to step 2 of taking it out of the top loader and looking for scratches, because you already know you're not going to send it in. So that's why I look through it, through the top loader first. But then, yeah, I take it out, and same thing. I go through the exact same process. I look at the corners again. I look at the edges, corners, edges, surface. Same thing on the back, corners, edges, surface. Go over it. If everything still looks good, and I've decided this is a really nice card, and I'm going to send it in for grading, then I'll take my cloth, give it a nice wipe down. Especially with these chrome cards, you want to give them a pretty decent wipe down. Front and back. Don't forget the back. People always forget about the backs, but they grade the backs just as much as they do the fronts. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then at that point, I would take a penny sleeve. I can't actually get one out right now, but I would take a penny sleeve, put in the penny sleeve, put it in the semi-rigid holder, and then there you go. You're ready to send it off for grading. So the next thing I want to talk about is the magnifying glass itself, and why I feel like this is pretty much the most important step and the most important piece of equipment you should have if you're going to be grading cards. And it is surprising to me the amount of people who do not use these, who grade regularly and don't use any sort of magnification. They just look over cards with their eyeballs. And it's amazing to me, because you'd be amazed at the things that you see through a magnifying glass that you can't see with just your naked eye. And that's why I have these cards here. So again, this I'll probably put a link down in the description to this one. This one is really nice. It has a light on it. It has a nice little LED right in there. The reason I like this type the best is because you can put it right on the card, and it's the perfect distance to be able to see everything. Whereas types like this, these are more of like a jeweler's loop, where you kind of have to move it up and down to get the magnification correctly, and just slight centimeter movements make it go in and out of focus. So these ones are actually a little bit more annoying and difficult to use. That's why I don't recommend these kind. This one is perfect. You just put it on the card and you can go right across it and look at it. You probably don't want to drag it across the card itself. Just keep it slightly above it, or just move it, which is what I usually do. I kind of just go like that and look all over the card. And it's also good with the light, because you can look at the surface with the light. And it's good to use different types of light, I've found too. This LED light is nice. Having natural light is also good. I do mine right next to a window here, so I can use natural light. And also using a basic like table side lamp with like a soft white bulb in it works really well. Don't ask me why, but for some reason, different types of light seem to show different things. Natural light, LED light, soft white light bulb shows different things. So I recommend, if you're going to be doing grading a lot, using different light sources to look over your cards. Now, the reason why it's so important to use a magnifying glass is, say a card like this. This is a nice Mike Evans card, serial numbered out of 99. And if you're just going to eyeball this card, it looks beautiful. The centering is good. You can see a little bit of chipping along the redness here, along the red areas here. So I wouldn't send this card in, and I'm not going to send this card in. But this was a good example, because there are certain things on this card that you can't see with just the naked eye. No matter how long you look at it and how close you get up to it, you're not going to see certain things. And one of those things that you can't see with this card is that, I think along the edge here, I was going to try to show you guys through a magnifying glass, but it wasn't working on this card for some reason. With these cards, I have some pretty good magnification images that I'm going to pop up on the screen and show you. But with this one, it didn't work. It didn't come out very well. But this card has what almost seem like little divots along the edge. And I've noticed this on cards before many times. You can't see them at all when you look at the card. But it's almost like, this is just a junk card I found. It's almost like somebody who owned the card prior. It's almost like they just took the card and were like, tapping it on a top loader or something, and just put all these little microscopic dents along the card. And you notice that quite often. And you can't see it unless you have a magnifying glass. That is one of the reasons why people get 9s on cards that they think are 10s. I mean, how many PSA reviews have you watched where people send in cards, they don't look over them with magnifying glasses, then they get an 8 or a 9, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This card should have been a 10. It's like, well, if you look at it under a magnifying glass, you'll probably see edge damage. This card Again, it's especially with the white border cards is when you're going to miss a lot of the damage with the naked eye. But this card right here, this one, the penny sleeve didn't come out with it. But yeah, this card right here, again, looks absolutely beautiful to the naked eye. There is nothing wrong with this card to the naked eye. But once you get it under magnification, and I'm going to pop it up on screen right now, you'll see along this left edge here, there is some really bad chipping. And this corner up here is actually really bad. And it's so microscopic that you can't see it. And remember, the graders are using magnification on all your cards, so you should be using magnification too. There's no reason you shouldn't be. One other thing I also noticed was that there was a little silver flake speck somewhere right in this area that you can't see on the card itself. You can't see it here. But once you get it under magnification and you look at it, you can see a silver speck. It's probably came off of when they were making this silver part up here. Just a little speck that got down here and stuck to the card. Again, the edge along with that speck is gonna drop you down to a 9, even though this card looks perfect otherwise. So it's the same thing with this card. It's the same card, just Larry Fitzgerald. This one also had, I forget where it was, I think it was on the back with this card. It had some edge chipping on it. And again, you can't see it with the naked eye. You can only see it with magnification. That is why this is the most important piece of equipment you need if you're going to regularly be sending cards in to get graded. The reason I made this video is because I've watched so many other videos on YouTube of people showing you their process for grading cards and prepping them, and they don't use the simplest, most basic, most important tool that you should be using. And these aren't even expensive. I think this one was like $11. Come on. You know, if it's going to make the difference between getting an 8 or a 9 or a 10, that's going to make you money, $11 is nothing. So that's why I wanted to make this video. I hope this helped. Get yourself a magnifying glass and enjoy getting your cards graded. And just one more thing that I almost forgot, or two more things really that I almost forgot. I was recently, this goes back to what I was talking about using different light sources. I was watching one of those YouTube videos where somebody went to a grading company and got a tour, and they showed you the whole grading process. And I'm not sure, but I think very quickly in the background, I saw what looked like a black light. And that would be interesting. That would kind of make sense if they're also using black light to look over your cards. Because we all know with black light, different things are going to show up that you can't see at all. They're invisible to the eye. Even with magnification, with light, certain things are just invisible, and the black light will show them. So I just wanted to let you know that. I don't know if graders actually use black lights or not, or if that was even a black light that I saw in that video. But when I saw it, it kind of, a little light bulb went off in my head. And it made me think, well, that would kind of make sense if they are using black lights on your cards to look over the surfaces. So yeah, I just want to throw that one out there. And also going back to the cleaning of the card when you're wiping off cards with the top loader. Another thing that you'll see often through magnification that you can't see with the naked eye, there will be sometimes little specks on cards, especially on chrome cards. You'll notice it a lot. Little microscopic, I don't know if maybe it's glue, dry glue from the manufacturing process that maybe somehow landed on the card. And they get stuck on there and they won't come off with just a cloth. They're stuck on there enough that you can't just wipe them off. You'll notice them under a microscope or a magnification, and you just have to kind of go in there and just pick it off. Really gently just pick it off with your fingernail. They pop right off. Sometimes you'll see things where, I know, but it might be like, it looks like somebody may have sneezed on a card. I swear, you'll see some weird stuff under magnification. But sometimes, yeah, you'll just see all these little specks all over the card that you can't see unless you use magnification. So then you have to go in there. Sometimes you can breathe on it, just give it a and wipe it off. Sometimes you think you spot what looks like maybe some food or something that maybe somebody was eating next to the card as they were packaging it up. or something. The person you bought it from was maybe eating some Chinese food as they were, packaging it up to send it off to you after you bought it. Who knows? But you will see some weird stuff on cards sometimes, which is another reason why I like to wear gloves, because you don't know, these people are sneezing on the cards, their spit and their food are getting on the cards. So, another reason why you should be using magnification, another reason why you should be using gloves. And yeah, that's just what I want to jump in here with. Thanks.